a driver of the bus to hell like I am. Just toot that horn, bitch. Just toot it.
If we want to be first responders and you want to get more money and more resources, well, then you better come together as a community and show the government that that's what we need to do. Hey, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of 911 Delta Tethered for Life podcast. As usual, this episode may not be suitable for all listeners due to language and content, so listen with care and stay safe out there.
Hey y'all, it's Kacey here. Join Anna and I tonight as we're back together to recap and discuss all about the past few months on the show and about all of our amazing guests and accomplishments. So grab those headsets, let's talk.
All right, Kacey. So it's been a long time since it's just been you and me on the show.
Yeah, so we've also been really busy the past few months with quite a few amazing guests on the show, which is what we will be kind of going over recapping tonight.
Because we actually took a couple of weeks off.
We did.
Technically, because we had pre-recorded episodes that we pushed out and took a little summer vacay. So now we're back to it. Is there any like funny moment that you remember?
Oh gosh. Well,
From our recording debacles.
Yeah, our pal Dougie, he was a lot of fun. He was definitely one of my favorites. Not that all of them aren't my favorites in some sort of way, but Dougie was pretty awesome. We had a lot of fun with him, I think.
And we owe him big too because he actually came on twice since we forgot to record.
Yes.
Him the first time.
He was very understanding about that.
But now in the podcast journey, as we've done more and more interviews, apparently it's not that uncommon.
Yeah, we have
it happens to other people too. It's not just me that forgets to hit the record button. So
that's right. And it has not happened since then. Like, it has put alerts for both of us, like, Bug, did you hit the button?
Right. So, yeah, the one time, who were we interviewing then when the actual StreamYard didn't want to record? It was just spinning. It wouldn't record, and I can't remember who it did that to. So it took us a while to
maybe it was Kyle. Was it Kyle?
No, it wasn't Kyle. Because I think he recorded actually when
he actually did, and then you're right, I think.
Kyle from the Elevate podcast. He's got a lot of good stuff on too for first responders.
He does. He's doing amazing things, with his podcast. Speed Dispatcher, she was pretty amazing too.
Way back in the beginning, we had our friend Emily, and then that brought us to having Dr. Meredith on.
Yes, I think she is the top of my list for sure. Like, every time she has completely talked about me, she got me all up in my feels. So yeah, she's definitely at the top of my list for sure. I actually feel like I am kind of normal, if that makes sense. I don't feel like, damn, you're so dumb, like you shouldn't be feeling this way or that kind of thing. And it is okay to feel the way that I feel, but I'm hoping that we can have her on again, like more than once, because I really enjoy hearing her.
Yeah, I think just knowing like that everybody goes through the same BS. You're not the only one.
I mean, pretty much everyone that we've had on thus far feels the exact same thing and has gone through similar things. Like, we all have. Like, to a certain extent, it's all the same.
Right.
So it's like, whoa.
Right.
I thought that was just me, and no, it's across the board. And
and the fact that they don't really give us tools to deal with that in any aspect of public safety, right? Like, dispatchers aren't alone, but they don't teach you about that.
And I know we've had quite a few episodes about mental health, and some folks have said, why are you talking so much about it, or I know y'all have already talked about this, but this is something that's important. Well, we talk about it so much because it needs to be talked about.
Right.
Because there are folks out there that are struggling within, and maybe they don't even realize it now. Maybe they're brand new, and that's one of the things a lot of us have said throughout these episodes, that, if you're thinking about a career in public safety, dispatching, whatever, that it's something you really need to think about, that is going to happen. It's not a, well, what if? No, it is going to happen. It is going to affect you. So, if you think for just a second you're not strong enough to handle the stress, the mental issues that are going to come, then it's probably not smart for you to even start a career in something like that. So, um, but yeah,
Right.
so that's why we talk about it so much, because it needs to be talked about, and this whole podcast could be about public safety, mental health. I mean, it's just there's no end to it, really.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think we talked with Chip not that long ago, who, has
Hmm.
been 55 years in the
Yes.
field, and how it's evolved since then as far
Hmm.
as the mental health aspect, but that it's still not as commonplace. And I was listening to, and this actually might have been Kyle's podcast the other day, but I was listening to one, and the guest was talking about like the biggest thing, it being trust issues. And I know Chip talked about trying to start a peer support group, but nobody
Yep.
would come,
Yep.
right? Because that's a huge trust issue. We've talked about that. We had
We
one
have.
where we worked, and nobody is going to talk
Nope.
to them people. No,
Myself included. I refuse.
right. And when we talked to Dan Jewis, who was amazing, and I just loved him.
Yes.
He, said we work in a low trust environment, right? Like that's our whole job. We're just low trust people by nature, I think. And so it's really hard to cultivate that trust. And then of course, we had a whole episode on the bullshit when Alicia came on, and we talked about just how difficult dispatch centers can be with your colleagues. And if we treat each other like that, like who is going to trust anybody to go to
Right.
peer support,
Yep.
right?
That's so
So,
right.
yeah. So I think like we definitely need to do a better job of teaching people about the physiological, not just the mental, psychological effects, but the physiological effects of stress, post traumatic stress, all of those things. And then we have to do a better job of cultivating this community of trust, and not I'm going to make fun of you, or I'm going to go tell so and so that you're not doing your
Right.
job, or whatever other bullshit people can come up with, because we all know what happens.
Yeah, if you can't really, especially trust your own co-workers and folks that are supposed to have your back, and this, I mean, God, I just.
I mean, we've all seen that happen. Yeah, I mean, at least I know you and I have. We've talked to a lot of people who have. So I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure that if you're a dispatcher out there listening, you've seen it. If you're a firefighter, you've seen it in the firehouse. You've seen it in the squad room, right? In the roll call room, if you're a law enforcement officer. We've all seen the bullshit. How do we stop that? And as far as dispatchers, we had Lori on. We talked about the 911 Saves Act.
Yep.
If we want to be first responders and you want to get more money and more resources, well, then you better come together as a community
Yes.
and show the government that that's what we need to do. But if everybody's too worried about their own
I
petty
just.
bullshit that you're worried about,
Yes, indeed.
Okay, I feel like I got on my soapbox there a little bit. We started off the year talking about goal setting.
We did.
So, yeah, and we have set some goals for the podcast. I think we've pretty much met them.
Yeah.
So we need to like set more and do more.
Our ratings are up. Like, we've got a lot more followers, which is absolutely amazing. We thank
Right.
everyone so much for that. That's really exciting. We've got several guests, and I mean, at one time we were like getting guests lined up left and right, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was almost like it was hard to schedule them because we had so many,
Right. And we
which was
still,
great.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. We still
yeah,
have some that we're looking into, and of course, the invitation is open to
yeah.
anybody and everyone. Um,
Oh, and you know that you cannot forget mock
oh, Mock,
because
yes. How could we
you
forget
know
Mock?
I don't
Yes.
cannot forget his amazing accent and his amazing story.
Yes, his career in itself is she's. But then again, I could just sit and listen to him talk about the toilet flushing for 12 hours. I mean, just it wouldn't matter to me what the hell we talked about. We are going to get Boob and Nitro on here. That is one fucking goal that I have for this show. So,
Okay, yeah,
bitches, y'all
it
listening?
right.
You
It
there?
is. It is. And that reminds me of did you just hear that noise?
No, I did
Anyway,
not.
so I had my blind pushed up and it just like it hooks on like a little nail because it's a big window and it's a long blind and they did one of those like cordless things. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
put it up. The people that lived here before, so it's a little bit heavy, and so it has a little nail that it hooks on. Well, it just like randomly fell off of that
Oh,
and fell
see,
down
great. Carolina's
and
so
scared the
cute.
crap out of me. Reminded me of
Sunshine.
My Only Sunshine. What?
Did you hear that?
I did. What? That was creepy as shit.
Not good.
Yeah. So, which is funny because Doug, he has done the paranormal podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when we were trying to have him on or something. That was during that or right before that. And we were recording and your ceiling fan started talking.
Yes.
So
His
that was a prime moment right there.
that was, and I do not want to experience that again. I will tell
Yeah,
you
that was real creepy. Yeah.
that. And I've heard that song on some of these freaking commercials, which I haven't heard that song, and I can't tell you how long. Except that, but since that day, whatever the hell it was, like decided to come on the show, I have heard that damn song like in TikToks and commercials, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so fucking weird. So I
Yep.
cannot hear that song without thinking of that episode for sure. That was
Yeah.
pretty scary. Well,
Yeah. And
that
then
is.
one time we were recording and you had, well, I don't know if it was you or not, but I assumed it was you. It was coming over the thing as like this crinkling, crackling. I even recorded it.
I I
let me see if
think
we
that
can
you
play it.
had mentioned that, but I don't think that I actually heard it though.
It was so weird.
Lord only knows what we got going on up in here.
I don't know. It was like something from Alien.
Oof.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Yeah.
should
So,
do another episode and get old Dougie Boy on here with his damn equipment. But
right.
then I'd be a little bit too freaked out, I think, because this house is fucking old and the property is
Um,
shit. So I'm not sure I really want to know.
right. Right. Well, so today, speaking of, my house is not that old. I mean, it's 20. I think it was born. Oh my God. My house was born.
Born,
Oh, that
built,
just goes to
whatever.
show you that the bitch is haunted. Um, She was built, I think, in 96. I want to say 86, but I think that's when Top Gun came out, so that's wrong. I'm pretty sure it was 96 was
You
when
and
my
your damn
house was
Top
built. I know, that's just always stuck in my head.
Gun.
So, but there's definitely been some death in the house from what we've heard. I don't know that actually occurred in the house, but um,
On the property.
or just people that lived in the house
Oh, gotcha.
passed away, right? Or and there was sickness. So that's interesting.
Mm.
And today I'm just walking by and we have one of those Nest thermostats.
Uh-huh.
It's like set itself on 69 degrees in the middle of the afternoon. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, that's not normal.
Well, what do you
So
have your shit set on?
it's normally on like it's normally on like 73 during the day. It does this thing where it's
What?
like supposed to be smart and it like figures out how to, you know, m- be efficient and all of that. And then it goes down to like 69 or 68 at night.
Oh
But
my God, 73.
yeah. And so I usually, if I'm home, I usually turn it back to 72.
Oh my God.
Uh, but yeah, but it was just randomly on 69. And I was like, dude, it's like 97 degrees out today. We're not air conditioning the whole world. Like it's not happening.
Yeah.
Um, so you need to reel it in, Betsy. I don't know what you got going on, but no need. Talking about the thermostat, 'cause I had to text my husband. And of course, when I texted him and I was like, the ghost has the house set at 69, she's hot, and he's like, or she just has a dirty mind, because he's a
True.
fireman. And what else would you say when
Well, I
presented
mean,
with the number 69?
that's where my mind went automatically, but I was just not
Oh,
going to
okay.
go there.
All right.
But
Yeah.
that was my first thought as well.
Mine probably would have been had it been anybody else, but since it was me and I was like, this is really weird, like, yeah, I was more
Well,
worried about the
mine
haunting than I was the
stays at
69.
64, so I don't know what
Oh
the
my
hell
god.
you're doing, man. Like, 73?
Dude, I would
Hell.
I could not know.
Oh, man.
Oh, no, I'd be frozen. I can't do that. No.
And I halfway walk around most of the time in my birthday suit. So,
Oh my god. Ooh, I
yeah.
would be wearing sweatpants and
Mm-mm.
I'll
My
probably have like a hat
goodness.
on. I can't, no. God. Whew. I
Yep.
mean, even like the 64, it's like that's chilly outside. Like, no, 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 no. Anyway, but it
Yes.
reminded me of going through these clips of having my husband on. And I
Yeah,
don't even
that.
remember what you said, but he's like, have you met my wife?
I
Like
forgot what.
implying that I'm not that nice. Just not true.
Oh my gosh. I forgot what that was all about.
I don't even remember, but I just saw the clip in the library and I was like,
But that was a very good episode, too. You guys put a lot of things on the couple, like, perspective of
yeah, I mean,
couples.
yeah,
It's
it's a
pretty
hard
interesting.
thing. I mean, looking through several other public safety type podcasts, and that like divorce, relationship issues, that's always a thing. And it's funny. I was looking through the Dear Chiefs podcast. It's the two ladies and their wives, and talking about the shift struggle. I didn't listen to the episode. I just saw the title and the theme, and it was funny because I had seen two funny memes on Instagram like the day before relevant to this. And one of them, lady who's got like a baby strapped to the front of her and she's got like an air gun and she's changing the tire on some big ass truck. And he's like, my wife trying to do everything, while I'm on shift or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, we're not trying,
We're
dude.
doing.
We're
Yeah.
doing it. Then I saw one that was like how to cope with your spouse being on shift work or, being gone for 24 hours or whatever. And I'm like, man, like that's definitely not an issue that I ever had.
Yeah.
I'm always like, when are you going to that conference again? Because now that you're on day work, you hear all the time.
Yeah.
And that gets to be a lot.
I
But
bet.
then again, I came from the military brat background where my dad was gone a lot. And
Yeah.
then when my dad retired, it was a real eye opener in the house.
I
Woo,
bet.
like,
I
yeah. Yeah, my parents making it through
bet.
that was pretty impressive because I thought my mom was going to lose it.
I'm sure she kept
So,
him straight though.
yeah, I mean, and now they're both retired. That's a little bit
Yep.
scary. So, yeah, we could definitely talk more about that
We
relationship
yeah, we definitely need
stuff.
to get some more public safety couples on. So if you're out there listening or know somebody that, you know, couples out there that you work with or whatever, send
Right.
them our way. Like we would love to have them on and talk about, how they juggle and struggle, together
Right.
working. Like,
Just, yeah, there's so many challenges if you both work in public safety.
especially if you're opposite shifts, one works nights, one works during the day. Like, fuck that. Like, I'm not watching a
Mhm.
damn kid while I'm trying to get my beauty rest.
And there are plenty of people that do it too. And I
I
mean,
know. God
I
bless them.
never slept well as a night shifter. Not that I ever wanted to work full-time days either. Yeah, like that would be so rough. I don't think I'd have the patience
I
for them.
I just could not, especially not now. Like, I don't even think I'd have patience with children, let alone not being able to sleep and all that shit. Like, I just, I couldn't do it.
Right. Well, yours are old,
Yeah,
you know.
they are, but the
So
shit, they still stress me out more than if they were little. So,
we had Sergeant, retired Sergeant Michael Segru on, who
yes.
has written a really cool book called Relentless Courage, who was involved in a shooting of a citizen, a suspect
Yep.
who was trying to kill some people. That was a super, super cool episode to talk to him and all the
Yes.
talk about bullshit and department
Indeed.
crap that he went through, and then also realizing that he had PTSI and
Hmm.
getting help for it and all of that.
Very intelligent fella and very interesting story. Um, yeah, I actually got chills from that. Because these men and women go out and yeah, it's something that they're trained for, but like, are they really trained, to deal with the aftermath of, taking somebody's life, regardless if they're bad, good, whatever?
Everybody, when I say everybody, I mean like civilians always want to say, well, that's, they're trained for that or they're, that no, you're not.
Yeah, definitely
Like
not.
you're trained on the technical aspects of the job, but that is it. Nobody trains you
Yeah,
on the emotional aspects of the job. So,
yeah. And that we have
um,
talked a lot as well, how people just think because we're in this profession that, we're either robots. I'm not really sure what they think we are, but they don't believe we're human. I can tell you that. And that's just something that these citizens everywhere need to realize that yes, we are fucking humans. We have feelings. We go through the emotions. You know, we cry. We feel pain. We go through it all. Just like you or anybody else. So to think that yeah, we're trained to this. Well, yeah, no, we're not. We're really not. Um,
right, right. So, what else? Is there anything else? Like, what are you thinking? I think one of the things that I have really learned or become more aware of doing this podcast is actually how important all of the things that Dr. Meredith talked about are important even in real life. Like,
yes.
I notice people going through struggles or people telling, um, just telling me stories or whatever. And it's like, yes, like, okay, we all go through the same bullshit as public safety, but we all go through the same thing as human beings. So, like you said, just because we're in public safety, it does not mean we're robots.
Right.
And we go through the same bullshit that you go through.
Yep.
But that being said, most of the time we are still expected to perform above and beyond.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
And I mean, we do.
We're not
we.
saying we're overachievers at all. No, we're not saying that. No. We might be a little bit special, but still we're regular people.
Indeed, we are.
Yeah.
And I will be the first to admit that I am completely fucked up from mentally from being, just hearing the shit I have heard over the 16-year career that I had in dispatching. Would I trade it? Absolutely not, because it has made me pretty much who I am today. But I will say that I feel like I still am really numb to a lot of shit, like everyday shit, like, shit that people normally would be like really stressed about or like sad about. And I just, yeah, I do get sad and I do get stressed. I'm not saying I don't, but at the same time, I feel I hide it very well. I like, I guess because I still continue to push shit down. Because that's basically what you did in dispatch. All the shit you've heard, whatever, you push it down and just
Yeah.
kind of try to bury it. But so I still like feel like I wished I had a little bit more emotion and feeling even now, which I do have a lot more now that I'm not dispatching. It's starting to come back, in a good way. Like, but you just it's amazing how I'm not going to say dark you become, but I mean it kind of you do, like
Yeah, and I think some of that, like, I don't necessarily know that that's like not being emotional about things, but I remember Mark saying this. Um, it's just normal, right?
yeah,
Like, we are dealing with.
basically the worst of the worst at some point.
Right, right. Like we, and that's what we deal with all the time.
Yeah.
So, and even when we talked to Robin and she was talking about transitioning to the corporate world and like the tech going down and people like freaking out because the tech was not working, and she's like, okay, like what's the problem? Why are we stressing? We'll just wait a few minutes and it'll
Mhm.
come back, right? To somebody who doesn't deal with life or death every day or doesn't hear the wild shit that people tell you, it's not normal. As soon as you say, oh, like that's the craziest shit I've seen or heard, or, you know, like nothing's going to top that. Oh, the
Yeah.
universe is like, hold my beer.
Yep. And then you talk to,
Ring a ding ding. Right.
to all of these different guests that we've had, and like then they can top off, something that even you've dealt with. It's like, well, shit, like, damn, that's fucking badass. Um, I can't believe you dealt with that or this or that, and
I don't know.
yeah,
So I don't think
yeah.
that that's not, I don't think that's necessarily not being emotional. I just think that it's normal. Like it's become normal.
And
So
like
it's
like we've
not,
always said, where it takes a special person to do public safety in itself, and I mean that's basically exactly what we're saying right now.
we as Americans, we should be happy. We always feel, I think, especially if you're somebody who watches the news and you're sort of tapped into all of that drama and the politics and all of that, you have this feeling of we're in such turmoil, right? Most Americans walk around with a certain sense of security and a certain sense of, this crazy shit doesn't happen. And it does. You just
It
don't hear about it.
most definitely does.
I
Yes.
mean, what is on the news is like, sometimes there's crazy stuff, but I mean, a lot of times, like, there's
Not
nothing compared to what people really do.
right. Like most people, like you said, walk around and be like, da, da. I walk around and be like, oh my god, all these fucking people are dumb as hell. Like
Right.
I just, ugh. And I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not one to watch the news. Like I don't.
me either.
Not. I just don't give a fuck. Like I am so in under my rock. I go to work. I try to enjoy life as best as I can. I come home to my little farm, do my farm shit. And this is where I say, like, I don't like to shop. I just don't like to do
Right.
anything. And, I don't know. And maybe a part of that is from, being in public safety. I don't really know, but I still would not trade it for the world. We've met some really good folks
Oh,
um,
yeah.
along the way with the 16 years we did it. I mean, hell, it brought us together, which has been awesome.
Yeah, like, I've met some cool people, and we had Michael on at the very beginning of the show. Michael's one of my favorite people ever.
Yes, he was
Um,
awesome.
and yeah, he's an awesome dispatcher, incredible CTO. So yeah, like, we have met so many cool people, people that are still doing it, people that aren't doing it anymore, law enforcement
Yep.
officers, firefighters, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
so I
had.
wouldn't trade my time, but I will say on the mental health front, I am glad that I went through my divorce and my ex-husband having the post-traumatic stress issues before
Hmm.
I got into it, because that going through that sort of opened my world up to that mental health realm.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm glad that I I'm glad that I had that experience. But before I got into dispatching,
everybody that's in this field pretty much uses humor to cope and
yes, the
just get through
gallows humor, right?
shifts. I think that's pretty funny how I mean, sometimes I used to think, God, you're going straight to hell, like the things that you think of and this and that, but no, pretty much we're all the same way.
That's
Um,
that's one of the great things about social media, because when I feel like I have just had a thought that I'm like, oh yeah, riding the bus to hell on that one, and then I can, like, see a meme that somebody else made, and I'm like, or somebody
yeah,
else's comment, and I'm like, okay,
or
yep,
all the
no,
1,000 TikToks that I send you that
yes,
um, basically I'm fucking driving that bus to hell.
right, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not, but we're not alone. No,
definitely not alone for sure.
mm-hmm.
So I hope that we continue to get folks interested in being on the show because there's so much more that needs to be said, heard. We've talked several times of how we would love to have someone that has dispatched or been involved like with the 9/11 stuff in New York, hollering out to LA fire or anyone out that way.
Yeah,
It,
because it's interesting to hear how everybody does it too. Like, not
mm-hmm,
only like your crazy, what craziness you've dealt with, but also just how the different departments all over the country, everybody does it different.
mm-hmm.
It's really interesting to hear, stuff we didn't even think about. And you're like, oh my God. I like Brenda and the, tri state
Oh
area.
yeah, bless her for all.
Oh God. I like, whoa. I mean, I've thought, and been at conferences and stuff with people, in that are in regional centers,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, that
like,
wouldn't be
when you
cool
got
at all.
different states, they got different laws, and
Yeah,
no,
no,
that's a
I
lot. Mm-mm.
I could not do that for sure. But she
And
was a
how
lot of fun.
we can't even get the neighboring city or county's streets on the fucking map. Like, what
Right,
happens when it's a different state?
right. Oh my god.
Hold on, I gotta Google that. Hold
Yeah,
on.
I think I definitely would start like partaking in some alcoholic beverages for sure. If I
right?
had to go through that, I could not.
What about different countries? That would be so cool
Oh
too.
God, that would be awesome. So we've got several ways that you can reach out to us to be a
That's
guest,
right.
which is of course Facebook, 911 Delta Tethered for Life podcast. Look us up on Facebook. You can, what is it called? PM, DM, whatever the hell. I don't know those terms, but
So PM on Facebook and DM on Insta. It's
there
same
you go.
handle though.
Our email is podcast911delta at yahoo.com.
Yeah, I always want to do it backwards, so that's why I let you say it. Yeah,
But
I put all the links in the show notes all the time. So you can also go to Spotify, which is where our podcast is hosted, like the main host. It's available on all the platforms. You can go to Spotify and you can actually comment, send a message, whatever through there. Also, we're on YouTube, so you could also go to YouTube and do the same. We're gonna do a giveaway coming up for some little dispatcher swag and maybe something from us. And it does help whether you do it on Spotify or Apple, whatever. If you rate and review, if you can leave a review because it does help other people find the podcast. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. I hear everybody say that, so it must be true. I don't know if it is or not, but everybody says it is. So please rate and review and be
yeah,
nice.
or don't, and we, whatever.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
just don't listen anymore.
yeah, it's
But
just that
yeah.
simple. But yeah,
All
so
right. So we're back next week with another guest.
yeah.
And in the meantime, y'all stay cool out there. If you're somewhere where it's hot, like I think most of the US right now is hot. I don't know about Alaska. I don't know what they do up there. Any Alaska dispatchers out there? Because I would love to hear about that story. I'm
Oh
sure
yeah, that'd
that's
be
super
pretty cool
interesting.
for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, we'll be waiting to hear from you guys to join us on the show.
Yeah. We'll talk to you next week.
Until then, bye.
Bye.